Hello everyone, this is Priyanka. Welcome to my channel Automation with Priyanka. Today I will be talking about another special attribute for TestNG. So guys, we are learning TestNG tutorial, correct? And as a beginner, you need to understand all the different attributes that we use, okay, in TestNG framework. So very first in the last class we discussed about the priority attribute. Now today let me talk about another special attribute which is called invocation count. So first of all, let me create one TestNG class. You have to just right click on the package and come to TestNG option and you can just create one TestNG class. Let me provide some name test demo and this is the name of my class invocation invocation count. Done. And now guys, let's prepare our scenario. Suppose I'm testing some login functionality. So let me first create a WebDriver session, correct? So let's create a driver session for which browser? Suppose this time I will be using Edge browser. Okay, so let me write here for Edge browser. How we used to write everyone? So this is very basic, right? WebDriver driver. It is equal to new. And then we need to write here what? Browser specific class. Now currently I would like to start my session for Edge. So definitely I have to write Edge driver. That is a class file, correct? So I'm creating constructor of age driver. So basically parent reference and we are creating object of child class. Now let me import these classes from the Selenium package. Just use shortcut key Control Shift O and both the packages, I mean both the classes like WebDriver interface and age driver class we imported from the package org.openqa.selenium. Done. That is your first step. Then guys, open application. Now any application you can take. And what is the command for that? Driver.get. Okay. I will use this application, SwagLab application. Let me pass this URL address. Now guys, what I would like to do here? I would like to perform simple login functionality. And these are the three steps which we need to automate. So right click on username and then identify its locator. So guys, identify this element first from this application. For that, okay, whenever you right click and inspect the element, you will get here DOM or which is you can call dev tool. From this dev tool, you can identify your attribute and decide the locator strategy. For example, here I can see ID is present. So let's go with primary locator of Selenium, that is ID. So I will be writing driver dot find element by dot what? Definitely ID. And here is the first step. We will do what? We will just enter some username. I will be using this test data which is given in the application. Just write here proper username without any space, right? Done. Second step is what? I would like to enter password. So inspect password field first. Then again you can see ID is there. Let's copy ID again. I'm writing next step driver find element by dot ID and there we can write this password, correct? And even I will also perform certain action on the password which is all about enter password. And for that we can go with what? Send keys method, correct? So this is the test data given from the application I have written. Now what is my third step? We wanted to just click on this button, correct? So let's inspect button 2 and this is the code for button. I will just again select ID and I will write my third step. Again driver find element by attribute button which is what? ID. Through the ID locator provide this ID and it's a button, right? So action will be what? Definitely click, right? So we will click on the button. So you can see four statements, I mean hardly 4 line of script I have written. So we can execute it, right? We can confirm that whether user is able to perform login functionality. How we can able to do that? Either you can right click and go to this option run as it is a TestNG test case. Now you will get the option TestNG test, correct? If I execute now, see, this is how you will be able to see browser will launch and it will open application and then user is completing login functionality. Perfectly fine. Even I can see here what? One test case is completed with the status pass, right? And even if you can go for a console result, here also you will able to see total run 1 and even total test executed, that is also 1. So I return one test case, one time executed and the result of this entire execution is what? Pass. Perfect. So we are getting this entire result. But now the scenario is what, everyone? I would like to run this entire feature, entire login functionality, suppose 3 times, or you can consider 5 times, just to check that, okay, whether this application feature is stable or not. Sometimes we are willing to test what? If any functionality we wanted to repeat for number of time, right? Maybe we will test that, okay, whether this application feature is stable or not. Mostly for stability, right? Mostly for repeated execution. How exactly we will able to write our logic? See, I would like to run this entire test case, okay, 5 times or 3 times now. Then how exactly we can able to write this logic? See, we know that in programming we have a very interesting concept available that's called loop. Control flow statements, and we can go with the loop. So guys, we have for loop, while loop, do while loop, right? So currently the scenario is what? 3 times I wanted to execute this current test case. So we can definitely go for what? For loop. But then, okay, how we can able to write a for loop? Of course, for loop will do what? Number of time iterations whenever you wanted to run. We follow loop, correct? So how I can able to write a for loop? I can able to write like this. Okay, for integer what? I should start with 1. I should be less than equal to 3 as I wanted to continue iteration up to 3, correct? 1, 2, 3. And then I will be writing I plus plus. And what do you think? This entire script starting from the browser launch, application open, and each and every step to proceed, right? This entire script we will maintain inside what? Inside the for loop. And yes, in for loop we have to write a semicolon. Correct? Done. So if I write this code, I will able to execute this entire program, correct? But guys, what do you think? Writing automation script, we wanted to maintain lot of, okay, what I can say, some standards, because anyways we are learning how exactly we can able to design our automation framework. So first of all, it's not a good solution that, okay, we are passing direct test data here, correct? Another point is what? Somewhere we need to hide this locator part also. So that is where, okay, we can use page object model, where we can able to achieve, okay, encapsulation principle. So lot of these things are, okay, important while writing your automation script. And that is where again maintaining the script within a loop, that's again not a good solution. Right? You can write anyways, it will run. But the problem is what? This is not a right solution where we are maintaining every entire, I can say, automation script within a loop. So we should have some better solution, correct? Where in TestNG class I can maintain multiple TestNG test cases, and any of this test case if I wanted to run multiple number of time. So instead of following loop and maintaining that, okay, initialization, condition checking, increment, decrement and all, what we should have? Guys, we should have some attribute, correct? And yes, technically in TestNG framework we have an attribute that is called invocation count. Invocation count is an attribute for this test annotation. So guys, how you can able to add it? Just add here round bracket. Inside that, okay, you can just create invocation count. Just you can add, okay, like this, invocation count. And then, okay, you can set what is the count expected. See, I am expecting 3 times my test case should execute. Currently, this attribute I have written manually. Suppose you don't want it to add it manually, then just add round bracket. Simple start with any spelling like invocation. So I'm just writing invo, right? And then, okay, use shortcut key from the keyboard, control space. Immediately you will see that invocation count attribute here. And see the meaning. Okay, the number of time this method should be invoked. That we can define with the help of this invocation count attribute. So let's go for it. I wanted to execute this method, this entire test case, okay, 3 times. Correct? So yes, what will happen then? 3 times this entire test case will execute. Let's see that. Save the code and just click on run button. Now please have a look. I'm not writing any logic for loop and something, right? But still I'm able to execute my test case 3 times. See, one by one, okay, browser will open the same application, same data will enter, and we are able to perform login functionality. And 3 times browser I'm just going to close now and see the beautiful result. One test case I have written, but actually the test case executed 3 times, and all 3 times status is pass. You can check here also in result. What you are getting, see test login, okay, out of 3, first time it is executed, second time also pass, and third time also pass. So this is how you will be able to see the test case execution. And now if you can check carefully everyone, how much time it has taken? around 5 seconds, okay, I can say, because here it is around, okay, 5 second plus 10, and suppose this is the third 5 second I can consider, okay, which is what total max to max, okay, total around 12 to 13 or 15 second it will take just to complete your 3 time execution for a same test case. Now there is another interesting point. So invocation count will help you to execute same set of action, okay, number of time. Correct? Instead of writing loop, now we have a better solution. We can add an invocation count. But tomorrow my expectation is, so 3 times same method should invoke, but this entire execution should take minimum or let's say maximum 15 seconds, not more than 15 seconds. Then any max limit can you set for your entire invocations? Whatever we are invoking here at this moment? Yes. There is a one more attribute very, very useful, which we can use along with the invocation count attribute everyone. That is called invocation timeout. For example, see, I will again start writing and you will able to see here invocation timeout. What is invocation timeout? The maximum number of milliseconds that the total number of invocations on this test method should take. Means currently I'm expecting what? 3 time test method will invoke, but total time execution is what? You can set here with the help of invocation timeout parameter. See, I am expecting this time 15 second, correct? So 15 second you have to write in millisecond everyone, which is all about 15,000. You will be writing what? 15,000. See, it's very simple. 1 second means 1000 millisecond you have to write. Currently, what the timeout I have given? 15,000. So I am expecting all this 3 time invocation, whatever it is done for my current test case, this should complete within 15 seconds, right? Let's see that. Let's execute this current test case now. So within 15 seconds, if it is completed successfully, you will get again pass status, which you can see. So currently all execution done within given timeout. And that's the reason, okay, I'm getting here what? Complete test execution is completed, right? And see the result is what? It says one test and one pass. Why it is, okay, coming like a one test, one pass? So because invocation timeout we have added within 15 seconds, 3 time test got executed, right? We invoke this current test case 3 times and we got the result. See one more time. If I just click on run all, see what is happening. Don't get confused. Again, you can see 1 time executed, done. Second time it will invoke, done. Then, okay, third time it will invoke, yes. Open same application, perform the action, done. But then result, I'm getting what? 3 time test code executed, but as I have added here timeout, now it is checking, okay, within what timeout the all 3 invocations are completed. Correct? So currently I'm just getting that entire test code executed 3 times and the total time required what? 12 seconds, which you can see here. It's already mentioned here, right? 12.59 seconds it has taken. And it is considering as a one default now test. Remember, this is just a one test method which is completed now within that timeout. But tomorrow, suppose I'm writing, okay, just 10 seconds. I'm expecting 3 times it should run, definitely, but total time it should take, okay, 10 seconds only. Let's see what will happen this time. If I save the code, if I just execute, again it started. Okay, applications open and then, okay, it will start with login. And now see, second time it is started, right? Again, third time. But see what happened immediately. In between itself, if it is exceeded the timeout, already you are aware. Total 3 time execution we are expecting, but definitely 10 seconds is not enough time to complete that entire process. So here I'm immediately getting what? Thread timeout exception. Correct? You can see here. So at this moment, 3 of 3, okay, started execution, but on the third test case, okay, immediately what happened? We are getting timeout exception. So the problem is what? Total invocation timeout, if it is not sufficient, in that case, everyone, your test will fail. And again, another point, when exactly we can add invocation timeout attribute? Whenever you will add invocation count, only at that time you can go with invocation timeout attribute. So even though if you don't set, by default it is a 0. Invocation count also, if you don't set, by default it is 1. You can see here, default is 1. Correct? But point is what? Whenever we are adding any test case, or if you wanted to repeat any test case number of time, okay, there we can easily go with invocation count attribute. So technically invocation count is an attribute, okay, which is a attribute of test annotation, and that allow test method to be executed multiple number of times. And it is commonly used for what? Absolutely for repeated execution, guys, to maintain and test stability of the testing. Even this current execution, right? Basic for load testing also, okay, we can go with this invocation count attribute. So there is technically one more attribute available which is related, which is called, okay, thread pool size. But technically you can just go with thread pool size only whenever you guys are expecting some parallel testing. Okay. So parallel, at the time of parallel testing, I will be covering what is thread pool size exactly and where exactly we can able to use it. But for now, understand, okay, just if you wanted to go for basic load testing and all, there also you can able to follow thread pool size. So invocation count is the main attribute which we can use to execute same test case number of time. And whatever parameter you will add here, whatever value you will add here, that much number of time test will start execution. Clear? So guys, use it whenever you wanted to go for some repeated test for any specific functionality. Thank you for watching. That's all for this video. Thank you.